We are here with Thomas Ketty after a ridiculous back nine and a huge Ontario Zone Championship win. What happened out there?
Well, it really started yesterday. I didn't play that well, but got around. We had a good group: Brian Hadley, Eddie Munder, and myself, and we played well collectively. Some shots were missed, but we ended up with a good score yesterday. And I came in today knowing I'm only three back, play steady, and got off to a good start, but then had a pretty substantial stumble on 8 and 9, and I had a good group today, and Ken Tarling was going really low, and John was playing well, and I was playing well. But when that happened, I was like, well, okay, we got to bounce back here. I know a double it was pretty catastrophic, but I made the turn and birdied 10, and then drove the green on 11, which they had us up on, and rolled in a little curler there to get two back, like a birdie. And then just kept making a couple of clutch par saves and was steady golf all the way home, and snuck in a couple of long bombs that may not have gone, but I missed a couple of eagles too, short eagles. So I wasn't even thinking about the lead or anything. I just knew I was on a roll, and if I could keep that going, then if I got to the house and in a good number, I didn't know what was going on behind me too much. I did see one leaderboard there where I saw they were falling off a bit, but so I knew I was probably in the mix, and just kept trucking it home, and sure enough.
So you're not a leaderboard looker?
Not really. When I made a little par on 17, and the boys were behind me, and that was the group I didn't know was going to be happening with Walsh and those boys. So I tried to scope it, and I couldn't keep my hand steady enough to see the numbers, and I was like, well, maybe that's a good sign. I can't see their numbers, then maybe that's a good sign. So I just went to 18 and said, let's put a good one out there. I've been driving the ball really well today, so I figured if I could get it down there, the wind was going to be at my back for my second shot, and sure enough, I remember standing over that second shot going, well, you haven't hit a 5-iron all week. I was like, okay, great. And at Deer Ridge, my last shot of the tournament was a 5-iron. I bladed it into the hazard. So I was like, okay, you've been swinging well, and I trusted it and went to the center of the green, and a little two-putt for birdie was, I guess, all it took.
So this morning when you, before you even teed it up, did you like your chances?
Yeah, I've the same thing happened to me last year at Laura Bay at the Canadian Assistants. I was a couple, I was well back. We were all well back, Dustin, but I was right there in the mix. I didn't want to be in that final group. I didn't want to see that firsthand, and so I think that's probably. I haven't thought about it, but it seems that's the trend. If I'm kind of can get out a little bit ahead of them and post some numbers, then I guess it fares well for me. So, yeah, I think probably in the future I will try not to be in the lead the whole tournament.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. After making that double on 9, how do you keep your wits about you?
Well, I never want to be a guy who comes out to these events and allows his emotions to get too carried away and vocal and present myself as that. So, I just kept reminding myself. I gave myself a little hand clap, but I wanted to make sure I kept some decorum, especially playing with a couple of veterans like John and Ken. I didn't want to show myself to be that. So I just said, you know what, they've been making bogeys and bouncing back with birdies. I said, you know what, just play some good golf coming home and see what happens. I wasn't even thinking about the win. I just figured, I'm 2 over par now for the tournament. I got to get something going, right? So, get it back to even or 1 under and see if you can make a nice check. And sure enough, the Graces were with me today.
Is that your best career 9?
Yeah, in competition probably.
30?
Yeah. I haven't really haven't thought about it, but I don't have a win before, so I'm guessing probably. I'm guessing it probably is.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, man, congratulations. What a day.
Yeah. Well, I did this. This many people might not know, but my family built a golf course back in New Brunswick when I was a child, and we no longer own it. But it was the dream of my grandfather who passed away this winter. So, when I was saying goodbye to him, I said I'm going to win you one this year. And I hadn't been playing very good golf this year, and I just flew my brother in last night, just because my mom was here and my sister was here, because my sister lives in Uxbridge, and so we're all going to have a good night tonight, and he's going to come back to where I live for a couple of days, and then venture back to New Brunswick. So it's this one was for you, Grappy.
What a story. Thanks, man.
Yep.